Can Ahsoka save Star Wars? We're talking about that tonight after last week's 2-episode drop and a lot of the comments from you guys on last week's episode. We're going to get into this tonight because there's a lot of things floating around online and we don't want you guys to get misinformation. And like we've never done this before, Ahsoka is on right now. We're going to watch it right after this. But before we get into Ahsoka, the 2-episode premiere last week, the viewership numbers, what's happening online and social media, you think it's all doom and gloom, but we're here to tell you that it's not. And we're going to look at the viewership numbers and we're going to see what you guys have to say in the live chat tonight. Before we do that, we're going to welcome this great panel back tonight. And we've got some great special guests as well. We've got, first and foremost, the man, the myth, the legend, the man of Beyond Wednesdays, Mr. Bryan McClay. What is up, man?
What's up, brother? How you doing? No intro tonight, huh? Did I miss the intro?
Fat and sassy. No, I did no intro. We dove right into it tonight because we're just flowing freestyle.
I like it. I like it.
Man,
I'm looking forward to hearing. I'm looking forward to what the Ahsoka fans are going to say tonight.
So this is why I'm really excited about this because, like I said last week, I've got a very biased opinion on this, so I'm interested in hearing what other people have to say. And yeah, speaking of somebody who might have an interesting story about their interaction with Ahsoka last week, Ryan, Rhynoverse, what's up, brother?
I liked Ahsoka good.
Is that a chicken thing?
It's just it's cotton candy.
Oh, I'm fat either way.
It's Yoda candy. It's in the color of Yoda. See?
Yoda man.
Ahsoka's good, yeah. Or something like that. I'm terrible. I won't do impressions of Yoda anymore. I'll just eat them. I'm good. You're all right. I'm ready to rock it.
I'm looking forward to this, man. It sounds like you might have an interesting story for us tonight from last week. But we're not stopping here tonight because of everything going on. We've got two great special guests tonight and a man that hasn't been on in quite some time. I'm really excited to spend some time with a massive, massive Star Wars fan. They're both massive Star Wars fans, but welcome from out west, not too far from McClay, Solo Wookie. What's up, brother?
What's happening? Good to be here. It's good to see all your faces.
Good to
I don't know if you know this, but your office looks exactly like Bryan's and Rhino's and everybody else's. I can't figure it out.
I don't know. It's just it's a cool little situation going on there. Now I'm trying to understand. Did the gray beard come before the other non-gray, or was it the dark beard before the gray beard? Which one came first? I don't know.
The gray.
The gray's first. I guess that's why they call it the gray
family.
That's very nice. Y'all are sporting some nice man pieces. You too, McClay, but I mean,
this is a wonderfully bearded panel going on tonight, and I swear to God, you guys aren't seeing double when this guy shows up. But man, Rob, Fat Stacks of Comics, what is up, brother?
I love the way that you just came in cold. No foreplay, no warming them up first. Just bam, here I come. You came in like a wrecking ball, baby.
Just like a 16-year-old.
Gotta come on
and then fumbled the delivery.
Oh yeah, like a new guy. The second panel running the live feed to make sure that nothing's going wrong over there. Left that on volume.
How do I do this again?
Well, I was sitting there playing catch up, trying to do some backstage homework, so to speak, on the social media side of what's going on with Ahsoka, and I'm looking forward to digging into that. Welcome, guys, tonight. Again, as always, like a lot of other shows out there, a lot of other friends running channels. When you guys got to dip, you dip. We'll run about an hour, and it's just going to be solid Ahsoka tonight with the new comic book day content and the one other thing at the end. So everybody got to see it, right?
Well,
yes.
Yeah.
3 times.
So we're going to throw Ryan right under the bus and say, Ryan, why didn't you not get to watch it last week?
Well, the thing was, wait, I don't know what that was.
You got somebody on the phone, bro?
I don't, not that I know of.
It's in
Are you trying to phone a friend right now? Like that's
What is that noise? Oh, it's like it's somehow like one of these apps came on that like does selling of comics and cards. I don't know what the heck. It just started going off all crazy. It's some kind of spookiness. You know, it's what they are. They're infiltrating the situation. Like when I tried to watch Ahsoka. So we didn't have the kids this weekend. And we're like, oh, let's like watch I said we gotta watch Ahsoka because it just came out. She's like, Soak what? I said Ahsoka, you'll see. Just so she got her all ready to go. We got our popcorn, drinking a little bit of wine, whatever. And I'm like trying to turn on the Disney app and it keeps resetting. And I'm like, just hold on. She's like, this ain't working. I'm like, just relax. Just drink a little more wine. So just kept messing up. And then like I reset the Fire Stick and it's still messing up. And I'm like, I got to take the app down. You have to delete the app. I'm like, what about the kids? I'm like, they're not going to miss nothing. They're gone. So get that going. Still not working. And it had been about 30 or 40 minutes and probably half of the bottle or more. I mean, it's like, we can go in that other room over there and make our own Ahsoka. She said yes. So yeah, that's why I'm in a cheerful mood today. If we could do something that I think they do it in the Mormons, it's called a soak. Do you know what a soak is?
I've heard of it.
Well, look it up after the show. You'll learn that. You'll educate yourself on what a soak is, but it's what young hopped up hormones individuals do.
Teenagers.
Not to do the deed, so they soak.
Oh boy. Well, it makes me wonder when you mentioned that. It makes me wonder how many other people out there have issues with Disney Plus technologically or equipment related, anything like that, and then they just kind of like, well, they're lost right from the get go. Because I'll be honest with you, when polling friends at work and friends in my life in general, hey, who's all watching Ahsoka? Not a single person in my close-knit group of friends or at work or in my family or my daily life is watching Ahsoka. You know why? The number one reason from all of them said, we're waiting till all the episodes are out.
Yeah.
Wow, really? Huh.
My
There-
girlfriend
that
said
is
the same.
That is a thing that I've seen way too often, is that I think Netflix, with their idea of dropping everything at once, really ruined the concept of episodic television, and that there's a lot of people who really want to binge this stuff all at once. But I've personally much more of a fan of the way Disney's been doing it with a week after week after week for the most part, because it allows me to stretch out something over a longer period of time. Now, there is a double-edged sword to that, and that is some of the way that Disney has been doing their Marvel and their Star Wars content. The story delivery has been rather uneven, and that they kind of it really relies on the end to tie everything up together. And if you're not binging some of this stuff, sometimes you just lose too much of the audience early on. So it is a catch-22. And if somebody's not super into it, I can see why they would say, no, I just want to watch it, binge it all at once, so I get the whole story and decide all at once, versus a really big fan would be more willing to forgive uneven episodes and story delivery in exchange for stretching it out, not having to wait another year or more for more content.
Yeah, I'm with Rob on this. I like episodes that are like kind of stretched out and it gives you something to like yearn for or like be excited about. I like that excitement. Like whenever I know I'm gonna have a present or a gift coming, I like the fact that it's gonna come later on. I get to have a surprise. I like to wait. I'm not the one that tries to find stuff and try to open it too soon. I rather wait and enjoy it and enjoy the experience of it. So I like that it is spread out. Now I think you're right on they can lose some of the audience with like the way that they parted out. And I think if they kept if they had shows that when one ended, another one a different show on the platform might start and around the same time frame going consistently. That way, when you kind of build it into your schedule that you have it, because the thing is nowadays everyone lives by a schedule. And once you get a routine down or a schedule down, if it's on the same time pattern, it allows you to be able to keep up with it. Because one of my problems is when they get a new show, it's like, okay, what day is it on? And I have to figure out how I'm going to add that to my schedule. But if it was already kind of consistent, it would make it easier to kind of plan around it, because my whole life is scheduled.
So do you think that's the main reason why most people aren't watching in the US is because they're waiting for all the episodes?
Yeah, I think there's a big amount of that for sure. I think there's a lot of that. There's a little bit of fatigue that's in there as well too, that stacks up, and there's yeah, and of course there's look, the other problem with this 1 week delivery thing. It's another boom or bust for us, right? For us, we can sit there and say, hey, great, we can watch an episode, we can talk about it all week. And the problem is people talk about it all week. Other people listen. They make decisions based on what other people say, whether it's good or bad or whatever. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I don't need to watch it, or I'll just wait till it all comes out. I'll make my own decision up at the end. So
I think that's a little bit of what we're going to see with this as well. Is we saw that big buildup for Obi-Wan and a huge letdown, a lot of disappointment. Even though there was some incredibly awesome things in Obi-Wan. Same with, Mandalorian, same with Book of Boba Fett. There was some great content stuff in there in all of those. As a whole, there was a lot of issues and a lot of problems felt by a lot of people. So I think that a lot of people are waiting on Ahsoka. They're like, fool me once, right? And so now they're just kind of waiting. Hey, I'm going to give it that 4 or 5 weeks, and at least I can binge out, 4 or 5 maybe. But I want to know what the rest of all those Star Wars nerds and critics and everyone says about Ahsoka. Like, is it good? Is it bad? And I think that it's hard in today's world because there is so much content to consume out there about something. And you want to consume, is it good? Is it bad? Without getting it spoiled. And that's a real fine balance in today's social media world.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, even when we had, we missed it, or we didn't get to watch it when we said it. But so now I have to find a new time to be able to watch it. And I'm kind of like, well, maybe I'll pick this time 3 or 4 weeks in so that I can just watch 2 hours of it, knock it out one evening, and then be able to catch up on the rest of it. So that is play into the psyche as well.
Hence the title of tonight's episode. Just, can Ahsoka save Star Wars? You guys mentioned a lot of fantastic points. Obi-Wan, burnout, the hype up, and then the letdown. And there's so many things. Just, I think there's a big general overall burnout of content, like umbrella wise. Not just Marvel, not just Star Wars, I think everything coming at everybody, million miles an hour, TikTok videos, shorts, reels, everything so much, so fast. The changes are happening so fast. I'm hearing a lot of my friends and people younger than me with families, they're recoiling from that. And they're actually going to old style. They're actually going back to the mentalities that we held in the 90s and the early 2000s of how we don't need to be rewarded instant gratification. You know what I mean? And some of us want to get back to that week to week episodic and kind of enjoy that. And that's why I think a lot of people are just like, you know what? I don't need the instant gratification of watching Ahsoka right now. I'm going to wait until it's all said and done and see what people say, and then I'll watch it in my own time.
Sure. Yep. But, I mean, to your question, can Ahsoka save Star Wars? That implies that Star Wars is broken.
Because if you guys,
and I will say,
there's a can of worms right there.
Every fandom is its own worst enemy. I watch it. My wife, super huge Wheel of Time, right? They've got their own series going on with their own series of books and all this other stuff.
They do. Yeah.
And they have their fandom who just loves any of it for any of its sake. They have a segment of their fandom that hates it because it's not the original or their version of it or whatever else. And that's the same thing with Star Wars. Star Wars fans, you have especially different generations that have grown up with different segments of it who think that their piece that they grew up with, that they saw and loved with their rose-tinted glasses, is the Star Wars. And anything else that has deviated from it slightly isn't real Star Wars. And some of us, Generation X, are the worst, thinking that the originals are the greatest thing since sliced bread, which they should probably go back and rewatch some of them and realize they're not as good as you might remember. But
that happens.
Yeah. But I can at least, I step back from it and I go, look, I love it all. Star Wars the mythology, the whole thing. I grew up on it. It basically defines my love for sci-fi. I love it all, but I can be critical of it as well too. That doesn't mean I hate something completely or I think it's garbage or anything else. Every piece adds something to the mythos. Some of it's better than others, but you know, I can appreciate it, even the good pieces of a lesser quality item story element, right?
Oh, just like what Joe's saying, it's Star Wars fans will eat whatever is fed to us, good, bad, or in between. Eventually, release a feature
disagree.
film.
Right.
Oh,
I
yeah, I want to
disagree,
hear it.
man. I'm this close to being done with Star Wars. This fucking close, man. And
Why?
my best friend is already done with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Why?
That's right. Give up.
Because it's so bad. That is why. It is beyond terrible. They came out swinging with Mandalorian, right? Everything after Mandalorian has been garbage. It's been so bad. Boba Fett, terrible. Darth Vader started, or I mean, Obi-Wan started good because of Darth Vader, ended terrible. Andor was good, but you know, it didn't really. It felt like kind of like off Star Wars to me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm a Star Wars fan, and it felt like Star Wars, but it felt like off Star Wars to me. It has gotten so bad that it's turned into Game of Thrones for me, and I've talked about this on my channel all the time. That Game of Thrones was the greatest thing since Star Wars to me.
Look at Rob.
I know. It was the greatest thing since Star Wars to me, right? And then they ruined it because it was so bad. And I'm an old school Star Wars guy, right? I've seen every Star Wars movie since in the theaters on opening night, in the very first showing since 1994, right? I'm an old school animation guy. I watched all the Clone Wars, the Rebel stuff. I've been to multiple celebrations. I am that Star Wars guy. It's gotten so bad that I can't even talk about it with my best friend because he was the same way as me. We went to all these things. He doesn't even want to talk about it anymore. He's like, I can't, dude. I can't.
Why though? What
bad.
is it the writing
It's because
or is it
I care. It's because we cared about it so much, right? It's because I cared about it so much. It is. People say, "Hey, what's your favorite movie?" Star Wars. Which one? Star Wars. Star Wars, bro. Like that. They're all the same to me. You know what I mean? That was me. Ever since Boba Fett, Mandalorian season 2, Mandalorian season 3, the sequels that 7, 8, and 9, garbage. It's all been bad, except for Mandalorian season 1 to me. And that was, and a little bit throwing Andor, but again, Andor is off-brand to me, Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like, it's good, but it's off-brand Star Wars. Ahsoka is what I'm waiting for. Ahsoka is the final thing for me to go, if they screw this up, if Filoni messes this up, if this is Filoni's baby, and this gets messed up, I'm out. Peace. Out.
Well, when I give some negative points on Ahsoka, just turn your headphones off, Brian, because I don't want. I have good points and I got negative points. Just don't listen to the negative points and remember, it's Star Wars, bro. Even on the bad stuff, we had some really epic, cool stuff happen.
Yes,
there was some really big things that opened opportunities for future awesome projects that I think a lot of people maybe missed. The Mythosaur, that got brushed over. I couldn't believe how many people brushed over the Mythosaur. We actually got to see one finally. And everyone was like, whatever. It was like, no, not whatever. Do you understand what that means?
But they fumbled that, though. They fumbled that. That's my point. That's my point. Is
they left it for later.
They've been setting it up since the first series when they were talked about, when they had Mando on the beast. Your people rode the Mythosaurs. They were setting this up piece by piece.
Fumbled it big time. Fumbled it.
Seeing him.
So how would
wall on Obi-Wan? Seeing brain fart.
But you have to watch garbage to get those little pieces. That you love, but it's not like when Luke, like Mandalorian was so good. When Luke walked in, you were standing up clapping right? You were standing up. Are you kidding me?
No,
you weren't.
Was not. I would have rather seen Plo Koon.
What are we talking? Why are we caring with the lead? I don't know.
I'm just saying. What I'm getting at is they you watch crap for all these little parts. It's crap. It's complete crap. For all these little parts, these little parts, and I feel like
I'll be right back, guys.
I feel like Star Wars, and I'll get off the negativity here in a second, but I feel like I just want to lay this all out. I feel like Star Wars doesn't care about their fans anymore. That's my problem. So I feel like Star Wars doesn't care about their fans anymore.
I would counter that the fans have stopped caring about Star Wars and instead they're making it about them. They're taking Star Wars and making it, this is my Star Wars. They got their version and they've deviated and made their own version.
That's what fans are.
And are unwilling to take the story that's being built out as, when you talk about Andor.
Yeah.
Now, I will admit that Andor was a different pacing and a totally different delivery.
That's what I mean by
than say the movies. But when you conceptualize it all in the whole grand story of what's being told of a story that's going from, how evil came to rise and through political intrigue and how rebellions have come to rise over time. Andor is just another piece that has brilliantly filled in some amazing details about what lengths people are willing to go through in order to either perpetualize a totalitarian government or to try to rise up against it.
Crap, that's the deepest thing I've ever heard about Star Wars right there.
That is Star Wars, though. That's Star Wars from day one.
I mean, it's like, but see, I guess I'm the casual fan, and I never heard I never saw any of that. I've seen every movie. I just see different things when I watch.
Yeah, no, I mean the stuff with with Andor and as it builds into Rebels, because Rebels is after it. In Andor, there's sequences where he's talking about where he's sacrificing another Rebel cell, and he's talking about how, look, these are things he's talking about trying to get these individual cells to stop being individuals, but to try to unite them, because as individual entities, we're never going to be able to take on the Empire, right? It's trying to build them together. And that's what we eventually go into Rebels is, again, the whole Rebels arc is this one cell and how they eventually slowly get integrated into a larger thing, which then builds into our Rogue One and builds into our New Hope and all these different things that slow rise up, the same way that Phantom Menace was showing us some of that early groundwork of how conniving Palpatine was, what the long game was to get from here to the end. I mean, the depth and layers, if you go into it, are just mind-numbing. Now, they're still shite. I mean, I don't need a Vespa gang running the streets of Mos Eisley.
Everybody should have a 2-mile-an-hour Vespa gang. Come on, that was the Monty Python of Star Wars. Like, how could you not enjoy that?
I like Lee here with this. I'm not a Star Wars fan.
Because I actually like Star Wars.
So I see kind of a line drawn in the sand a little bit here, not because we want there to be one.
I'm like this guy's comment.
I'm noticing something here is I think some of us that didn't quite grow up with the original movies the same way that maybe Rob did, that we're a little bit more on the casual side. Where
I did grow up with the original movies. What do you mean?
Okay.
Yeah. Hell yeah, I grew up with them. That was the first movie I saw in the theater.
Well, let me.
The first one came out in '79.
No, I saw New Hope in a drive-in theater with a metal box hanging on my window the way Lucas intended it.
No, what I mean to say is those of us that it might be a little bit outside of that pillbox of those three movies mean we're sitting there and we'll watch like Boba Fett season 2 or the Boba Fett Vespa gang, and we're like, that wasn't great. But maybe it doesn't hit us as hard because we don't have the same roots as what some of you guys do from the original series. Because I don't even consider myself a pretty big Star Wars fan, but cannot hold a candle to Rob or Bryan or Solo or a lot of the other people out there. I have a deep passion for Star Wars, but a fan I am not necessarily like a lot of other people. So when shit hits the fan and stuff is like garbage or not great, it doesn't kind of hit me as hard. I don't feel as passionate one way or the other.
I mean,
Dude, my Star Wars passion is what what molded me, right? It's exactly what molded me. The toys, the collecting, the movies. I remember when we found out that we were going to get an episode 1, right? It was probably the coolest thing in the world. And sitting next to my friend in high school and going, bro, in a couple years, we're going to get to see fucking Anakin, dude. Right. And thinking about how cool that was. And Rob, let me ask you something. To me, Star Wars is. I think that most Star Wars fans would agree that watch those first, that really cared about those first movies in that time period, is that what we wanted was to see more Luke as a Jedi, as a dark Jedi, right? I mean, that's not a dark Jedi, but like as a Jedi and being just a badass. And we never got that. One of my favorite
comic stories was Dark Empire.
There we go. So we never got that. And then we wanted to see, I don't know about every Star Wars fan, but I think a lot. We wanted to see Darth Vader Anakin, more Darth Vader Anakin, right? We want to see good Anakin. One of the biggest disappointments to me was the writing in episode 3. We never got to see that evil Anakin. I wanted to see that evil Anakin. I want more stories with Anakin in his head. I remember reading episodes 3's novel, and that final little, like, I don't know if you call it soliloquy, but you're in his mind when he's getting, put all the parts on. Him thinking about that was one of the coolest Star Wars moments in history to me. And you never got that. And then so we're missing out on 2 things that we never got, and we get teased it. That to me is the problem, is we just got teased it. And then and that's what I mean by, I don't think that Star Wars writers care about the fans anymore, because they're missing out on some of. And the third part to me is the Boba Fett part, right? We all know that Boba Fett, as a fan, as a Star Wars fan, is Boba Fett being a badass. Boba Fett was far from a badass in the Boba Fett stuff. Far from it. He was not. It wasn't Boba Fett. And I guess that is the reason why I get so, when I say that the fans, that the fan thing. So, I mean, would you agree on those 3 points, or at least for the first 2, that most Star Wars fans want to see that side of Luke and Anakin or Vader, and we don't get it?
I will say that I was super excited at when they talked about the, obviously the prequels coming out, because as a Star Wars fan, I had already read the EU stuff and all the encyclopedias and knew these backstories. So I had an idea of what was going to take place. When I saw the first movie, I was far more pleasantly surprised than I think a lot of hardcore fans were, because I was going into it not expecting very much action at all, knowing where we were going. But I got real nervous was that the time jumps that we had to do in order to condense this and fit this into just 3 movies, we had to skip over a lot of stuff. And a lot of the best, they made the movies very uneven. That trilogy a little uneven, had a lot of people really kind of upset with them. But they were much better when you got a chance to go watch a lot of the cut footage, or when you read the additional information, story elements that were removed from it, that really kind of played out Anakin not just all of a sudden becoming this, from a bubbly kid to angsty to all of a sudden, now I'm going to go chop down little kids, right? It was kind of a big leap of faith on all those things. It didn't get spelled out very well. That played out much better in a lot of things. And really, with Clone Wars, has gone back. And I think this has been the thing that's hurt Star Wars the most, is having to rely on homework and having to go back and retcon and fill in things to make these stories better. But for those of you that put in the time, these things do make it better. As far as Boba Fett goes, look, we can argue whether Boba Fett's truly a badass or not. Everybody put that in their mind. It was everybody's coolest action figure, but we built that out of 3 lines of dialogue and a cool looking set of armor. Is. Right? No, agreed. And a lot of expanded universe, which did make him a badass, which Disney then proceeded to toss away. The Boba Fett show, Book of Boba, I find the worst piece of Star Wars that's actually been done. and not just because of the way that Boba was portrayed. I don't have a problem with the concept that as he's gotten older, that maybe he's going to try something different rather than shoot first all the time. But there was just so much of stuff that was done in that story, including like 5 episodes of Tuskens that went nowhere just so you could slaughter them and had no payoff. Vespa gangs that are just waste of space. I mean, there was nothing.
And they missed a bunch.
So there was a lot of stuff that was told to fill film space. We got 8 episodes of film. Hey, let's throw in 2 episodes of Mando to boot. Okay, great. So we got 6 episodes of film, and we got almost no story out of it that advanced anything. So I will be very critical of Boba Fett all day long because I don't think that served any purpose and didn't.
But that's kind of what I mean. That like maybe I should say Disney hates Star Wars fans. Maybe that's what I should say. Maybe I should say Disney hates
Kathleen
Star Wars.
Kennedy has her vision of Star Wars, and she wants to advance her vision of Star Wars over Lucas's vision, and that's where Ahsoka has me very excited to bring it back around for you there, Andy. Ahsoka has me very excited. The most exciting thing to me I saw when I watched that was seeing written by, directed by, produced by Dave Filoni, who is the heir apparent, Lucas's hand-chosen man that has spent more time with Lucas learning about what Lucas's vision of all this is
Padawan
than anyone else. Absolutely.
So what I'm hearing then is that when Star Wars first came out, it was a passion. It was a passion project. So, Lucas did it. He had a big, he made this. The money didn't matter. It was about getting a story out there, and telling it the way she saw it to be told. Whereas now, you still want to get a story, but money is so involved in it that it's really changed it for those that are watching it, and as they're creating it, they're having to think about the monetary side of it all, and it's really kind of messing up the storyline as they're creating it.
Yeah,
there's an element of that. I mean, Lucas wanted to do Flash Gordon. They wouldn't let him do Flash Gordon, so he went and wrote his own story. And then from that, it was heavily influenced by a lot of those old serials. It was influenced by mythology. And he wrote a great story that then got chopped up into pieces because this whole epic thing that he spilled out, all these backstories and everything else that he wrote, couldn't be condensed into a film. And so he took one piece. And then from there, he was able to do other pieces of that story. But we still ended up with stuff where some stuff is uneven. Then you got to the Disney stuff where they threw out, they came all of a sudden, oh, but we have we have nothing to go on. So we're going to have to make our own thing. When I hear it like almost, I feel bad for you guys because you have such a love for something and it's not the way that you would hope for it to be. And it's a sucky situation for you to be in. And I think, as I hear, I'm listening like, well, how is this fixed then? What is there a way for this to be fixed? But really, with the way that money is infiltrated everything in everyone's lives, if that's the thing that's really changing because they're trying to capitalize on the story they're putting out there, it's never going to change going forward. There'll never be. I don't think there'll be a time where it becomes a true passion project as much as it was when it first was created. Beyond this time, unless there is a person, and I don't know how that would be fixed. To be able to really put the story, and it doesn't have to be convoluted or tainted by the corporation's drive to make that dollar.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways that they could do it. I mean, one, stop giving so much oversight into Kathleen Kennedy. Stop letting her control as much of it as she is, because it's not anybody's wish except for her own. Even George Lucas, who put her in charge, was to help keep it within the realm of his area. And she's kind of got, I don't know this because I'm not on the board. I don't know. From what I see in my chair, it feels like she's gotten a little power hungry and has overstepped several times. You got to get her out. You got to get Feige and Filoni, and you put them in there and just let them run it. Hey, you know what? Here's a whole separate section of Disney. Disney doesn't even really have much to do with it. You two take care of this and make this wonderful again. And I believe that with the writing we're seeing today, they may be trying to preface set a setup for that again. I think it is still a passion project for Feige. I think that he really has a heart and soul into this. I mean, we're watching stuff and characters now. That's all his stuff. That's his baby. He's the new Lucas. This is his, Thrawn was Timothy Zahn. He didn't shut out Timothy Zahn and say, hey, I'm going to do your live action of your character and you're not going to have any say. He called him down to the set and he said, you tell me. I got to get it right or this is not going to work. That tells me he knows what he's doing. He's listening to the people. He's watching the podcasts. He's trying to curve it into the right way. So when we start seeing shows like Ahsoka and Rebels and, Ezra Bridger and Thrawn and Clone Wars, when we start seeing these extra adaptations and more definition shows of it, he is trying to pay attention to the details. He is trying to build something up.
So you feel like as soon as Kathleen's out of the picture, that it would become better right off the right up from that point going forward. It'll become closer to what it used to be.
I think. Okay. I think
depends
it
on who takes over
a lot. And I think that what he's trying to write and what he's trying to put in play with a whole new universe. I don't think a lot of people have quite grasped that yet. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit more when we actually start talking about Ahsoka.
Well, yeah, it's actually Rob, go ahead with your last point, and we're going to change gears really quick after that.
Well, look, Star Wars over time, the fandom evolves. So there's going to be certain elements of it that as time goes by, it heals certain wounds. The Phantom Menace and the original trilogy were not big popular things amongst the original core group until over time some wounds healed, some people learned to accept elements of it, other stuff got done to stuff, and it became more popular. The newest set of movies, there are elements of it that I can grasp onto, I can pull from, even if I think it was very derivative. And over time, if we build out on the good pieces of it, we can make it worthwhile. And it's the same thing here is, the biggest the stories that we hear about Kathleen Kennedy, all the talking heads will say, is that Lucas put her in charge, gave her his notes and all this stuff, and then she turned around and put it in the recycling bin essentially, and went on her own thing, and that's where we kind of went off the rails. And so hopefully, if she were to leave or ever get replaced, that hopefully people would come in that would be willing to listen to the existing, the original intent of the original story. Some of the EU bring those elements in, like we're seeing Fiona doing some of this, building this out. We don't have a guarantee that if she leaves, the next person up does. They could go, nope, we're going all corporate money, but.
Do you think they hear it? Do you think they hear any of this stuff from fans?
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're hearing it right now when they go.
Then why don't they change?
Yeah, that's it. If they're hearing, they're not.
They're losing money.
It's a lag, right? So there's a big lagging thing from when you have stuff that's in production, it's being done, it's all these different elements, and something gets bad press, and you go, okay, well that's that one, and the next one, now you have a trend. Oh, we got to change direction. Well, you've got stuff that are years in the can that either you have to completely axe and take big write-offs on, which sometimes they do. And then there's other times where it's too far along, they put it out and hope for the best. And
look at the Flash movie. Perfect example. Yeah. When you're that far into it, you gotta roll the dice. Well, at least I made this much back.
I'll push back on that a little bit because they killed whole finished movies. Basically, they killed Batwoman. That movie was uploaded onto the servers, done, and they killed it. Right. So they've killed whole movies before, and they were supposed to kill Flash. Everybody was like, kill Flash, and then people saw it and said, no, the fans are gonna love this, and it wasn't what the fans we're gonna love.
But Andy, is Ahsoka going to be what we want to love?
Well, really quick, as we switch gears and get into this, thank you to Ferdbird the Nerd for the $1.99 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. Because we kind of segue into this. We'll get into some of the comments. I've got to get a really big apology out to everybody that commented last week on Tuesday with basically had their feelings of how the initial two episode premiere dropped. And Planet Arizona Comics, Simple Simon, Dale of Suspense, The Mad Respect,
I'll be right back.
CG Unknown, Legion, Mark, Sith Rule, Kingdom Comics, Beckerman, Joe, M3 Lions, CC Cave, and Locker Crazy. Everybody that commented, thank you very much. We're not going to be able to get to those comments right here tonight because we're kind of running long in the tooth. But segueing right along, you guys, no, this is exactly how we were doing this. This is the most important part, is having a healthy discussion about this. We've all done a really good job here tonight talking about some of the things that really pick away at us and what we feel like is not great about Star Wars. But you guys said it. Somebody said it earlier. What got me chomping at the bit, which got me like nipples cutting glass, goosebumps everywhere, fucking way too excited, was writer, producer, director, Dave Filoni. Ahsoka. And this is why tonight's episode is titled, Can Ahsoka Save Star Wars? Because is this Filoni's swan song? Is this going to be so good that all of a sudden, next thing you know, we're, whether corporate or not, the roadblocks are being removed, and we get Dave Filoni where he needs to be, so that Star Wars is going to be the Star Wars that it should be going forward for the next 20 years. Because now segue into Ahsoka.
Not a swan song, then.
Well, I don't know what a swan song means. It sounded.
This is goodbye.
Oh yeah, no, not his swan song, but his
arrival, his announcement on the grand stage.
Yeah, his magnum opus, or whatever you want to call it.
Should be his magnum opus. Yeah, because that's his character.
It's a great character. It's great stuff. I mean, I thought that these first two episodes, all right, without getting into any spoilers in case somebody hasn't seen it yet.
McClay, did you see it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so Rhino, if you want to dip to avoid spoilers,
that's right. I don't need to talk spoilers on it, really. The movie, I thought that it had a good pacing of mix of action with advancing the story and giving me a story in pieces that made me interested, that I wanted to continue watching, that I could see where, you laid out fairly early what's our goal, where are we going, you're moving it along, you've introduced some intrigue, you're introducing a mix of action here and there along with the story elements, and I think that it was a really good start to a series.
Well, I'll say that I'm glad that I've actually had this conversation before I got a chance to see it. I was going to see it this past weekend, but I get to, so now I'm going to go into it with some of these ideas that y'all are saying. Nothing was spoiled by any means, but it was like, I want to see it from your eyes as I'm watching it. It's kind of what I go in things.
We're definitely going to spoil it in this conversation, bro. This show is going to spoil these first.
Episodes for
sure. But we're only first 2 episodes in, bro. So it's the first 2 episodes were more set up than anything. So
yeah, I'm just saying, like I always go in things very positive. I can't wait to see things. I'm very excited to see stuff. And very, very rarely do I go into something skeptical that it's going to be bad, because I just love, I always reel myself back to when there was none of this was available. There was just a dream to have a Transformer, a dream to have these on the big screen. So I reel myself back to those times all the time. And so I'm grateful that we have this stuff right now. And so when I go into it, I kind of want to look at it from y'all's eyes and see if I can kind of pick out the pieces that you are talking about.
Yeah, I think, what's really great on all this is there's so many different layers and elements. And look, the biggest thing I will be critical of Star Wars at times is that to get the most out of it, it requires you as a fan to do homework.
Absolutely.
You can't, however, I will say that most of the time, if you do put the time and you put the over, it really becomes engrossing and enhances stuff. Now, one of the elements that I think the biggest critical things I've heard from people leading up to and after these first 2 episodes that I want to address, that is, I heard it was this whole idea of Sabine as being hinted as being a Padawan to Ahsoka. And where did this Force stuff come? She doesn't remember. Ahsoka's not a Jedi, first of all, so nothing says that her Padawan has to be a Jedi. So, Sabine is a Mandalorian, and when we saw her introduced with the black saber and stuff back when she was doing her learning stuff, one of the things that Fiona planted the seed was that Mandalorian armor, all their tricks and gimmicks and stuff that they have, were made to replicate the abilities of the Jedi so that they could fight the Jedi, right? And so there's nothing that says that she necessarily has to have Force abilities in order to be a Jedi, learn how to fight with a saber, how to be to think and function like a Jedi and stuff, but still be able to replicate those through artificial means and stuff using the Mandalorian armor. Just something to throw out there.
That's a good point.
Pre Vizsla was not a Jedi.
Right.
Yeah. I think that let's talk about how the show started, because I think that was probably one of the biggest parts to me. I love the fact that the way they started the show with Ahsoka at that temple trying to find the map, how she got the map, everything about that was amazing. I think that that the great thing about George Lucas is also like the other movies he's created and how big a part of
you get your Raiders vibe.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
I wanted Dr. Aphra right there, but at the same time,
Absolutely.
when she's sitting there, those pillars, I will admit, when I watched the second time through with my wife, I said, "We're not gonna make it."
That part to me was so cool, and I love the whole idea of the space maps and everything about it. I think that's one of the coolest parts about this storyline is them going out into deep space, and to me, that's why Ahsoka is such a cool character, and Ezra is such a cool character to me. So I'm really looking forward to where this kind of ends up. I thought the first two episodes were really pretty good. I didn't really see much that I was complaining about, other than it's just the first two episodes. But I love, to me, the fact of they're going after this map, they're going after these artifacts. Bring in the thoughts of the artifacts. I think the artifacts are some of the coolest parts about Star Wars that was created later on that really we didn't get in the beginning. That makes it so much fun. And you already brought up the Aphra part. I think that's great ways just to plant seeds about Aphra and stuff. And I could care less of the comics. I think Aphra is a great character, and I definitely want to see that. But the fact them going to get that artifact and the map and everything about it is cool to me. Totally.
I got a question for all of you. I'm going to precursor where you started just a little bit, Ryan. How did you all feel about the throwback, the homage, the new scrolling of letters?
Yeah, the red
vertical up the screen. What did you guys think about that?
But
versus going back into versus going back into space.
Yeah, it was not going linear away from you.
Why would
it
they
was
do stuff like that? That's just so annoying.
Up. It's still the scroll, but
it's still so annoying though. Why? It's like why?
Because that comes from the Flash Gordon serials, my friend.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I was a little heartbroken because I felt like that was a great moment. Like, oh my god, it's gonna start doing. Oh, it's not.
I think that's cool for being a Star Wars fan, but that's a thing that only the geekiest of us know.
But I would notice that. I would notice that.
The red font was more disturbing to me than the fact
that the yellow.
It was going back. I was like, "What's this red font?"
The red, exactly.
So I would like to see if that came out that the red font meant something. If there was a different that signified something later on that you kind of see that.
I mean, it did pan down onto a ship, and we got a ship going. Right. It's a very similar type of pan down.
And Ahsoka's ship is so badass, dude.
The first time I saw it, it bothered me a little bit, and I was like, it's not the same. It was kind of lame. It was blah, blah, blah. The next two times I watched it, by the third time, I felt like, okay, I kind of like it. I actually kind of enjoy it because it
grew on you.
Not the same, but it's a throwback to what the old feeling used to be. And
That's
the
exactly what
red,
we
I
said.
thought, it's a new time, it's a new era. It's not the yellow linear scrolling, but it is a different time in the timeline of Star Wars. And I thought that red could really mean something, much like Ryan just said. Later on, we might find out that red may have a little more play and meaning to what's going on than what it was. So the first time I was very much on the same boat. I was like, oh man, I wish I hadn't have done that. By the third time, it kind of grew on me, and I was like, all right, I kind of dig it because it's kind of like a good homage.
Mm-hmm.
He could be just completely fucking with.
I do have one thing that, as as Bryan mentioned, map that kind of like something that does bother me, right? It's like, what is with recently Star Wars and their desire that everybody who disappears, there's a map somewhere that leads you to them, and if you can find it, you'll know where this person is now hiding. Luke had a map that you could go find Luke. Where is he missing to if you found the map? And if you got the right artifact and hold this, you could find this dagger, you could find this thing. And, now we've got a special thing that's going to take us to Thrawn. Why is there a map to Thrawn?
I felt the exact same way. I was like, oh no, we're not going to do the last trilogy all over again, are we? We're not looking for Luke.
Star Wars.
Come on, man.
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, I like a nice artifact chase and those elements of. It's just if you're willing to step, and on the surface, I don't have a problem with it because I'm willing to suspend my disbelief and enjoy the story for what the story is. And that's, I think, what we have to do with a lot of fandoms and large scale fictions. However, if you want to sit there and nitpick, there's lots that you can simply by take down that suspension of disbelief and go, wait a second, why the hell is there a freaking Google map that takes me to freaking
Yeah, but isn't that what we've always kind of been told, that they're way out on the outer edges where nobody really knows about? So, I guess there shouldn't be.
We know that space whales took them into hyperspace.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly beyond the outer rim.
Yep.
But why did somebody have a map to them?
Exactly.
Well,
or you can have your show back now, Andy.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
It was the same thing with Luke, right? There was a map to Luke.
Yeah,
who's gone into hiding.
That was stupid, though. I feel like that was so dumb.
This feels like it's playing out more natural, a little bit better when they're talking about. There's so many other people that did so many other shows on YouTube that explain it much better. But the older beings that came and built that area where they took the orb and lit everything up and kind of did the map. And I can't remember the names or anything else, but they were a race of like warriors, or they became warriors, and they were something that either the Jedi were created or they had to up armor.
Don't tell me they were the Rakata.
I don't remember. I don't remember what the name, but they created super weapons a long time ago to combat these coming from this other galaxy, if I remember correctly. The other content on YouTube is much better at explaining it than I am, but speaking of the YouTube on or the content on YouTube and social media, the narrative being whipped around, it feels like everybody here in the chat and everybody here on the show tonight has the same general consensus. They enjoyed it. I'm pretty much hearing from all of my close friends and all of you guys in social media, the people that watched it, everybody that we talk to regularly in the comic book community said they enjoyed it, but they have a couple of things that they could nitpick. There was a couple of things that could be better. But the narrative being spun on YouTube and social media is one of doom and gloom the last couple of days because Samba TV.
It sells.
It sells. It draws attention.
Samba TV released 1.2 million households watched Ahsoka. The opening episode over its first 6 days on Disney Plus, which
that would be doom and gloom if you compare that to Nielsen ratings. So if you went to 1.2 million in your week, right? 1.2 million, looking at a recent Nielsen thing, would put you somewhere around the 88th in the, out of the top 100 shows. You would be in the top 100, but you'd be below like the 85th. Because that's where you're at 1.28 million people watching. So America Reports, Dr. Pimple Popper, the rookie UFC PPV Premium Pro Live events, Little League World Series. That's what you're doing up against there at 1.2 million.
But again,
single housewives watching murder mysteries.
Yeah, I think the fact that Dr. Pimple Popper gets 1.27 million would spell doom and gloom to me.
Yeah. Well, the point kind of being them taking and running with this is a lot of people didn't pay attention at first because they're obviously generating clicks, they're generating content. Was this didn't trail behind Andor that much. Andor, I think, was 1.4 or 1.5 opening up. It wasn't too far. The beats building. We have to stop looking at the initial numbers on the first episode that drops and start looking how a series finishes. Andor finished strong. The response from Andor was people seeking Andor content on streaming media, I think, was like 31 or 32% higher than any other Star Wars content or any other content at that time at the moment. Andor generated a buzz because people waited and then let the beat build.
Yeah, because it was a slog for the first few episodes.
So
if
just
I'm a
today,
CEO though at Disney, I'm not comparing this to Andor. I'm not comparing this to Loki. I'm not comparing this. I'm gonna regret saying this because I'm not trying to open the damn rabbit hole. I'm gonna compare this to The Last of Us. I'm gonna compare this to opening Walking Dead. I'm going to compare this to, you know what I mean? The Game of Thrones. I'm going to start comparing my stuff to the stuff that I'm in major competition with. I'm not going to compare this to the other things that I'm already getting.
They weren't doing that. I was just doing that as a general like compass for recent Star Wars content.
Yeah, and Blue Hellion brings up a point. 1.2 million streams. How many of those were the whole family sitting down? Right. Obviously, when we talk Nielsen ratings, they're talking how many people in your household are active watchers. So it's not necessarily the same apples to apples. Also, the size of your audience isn't apples to apples, right? Obviously, a lot more people have access to cable television, whether it's directly via cable, satellite, streaming, whatever, versus subscribers in the United States to Disney Plus. So
and like I told you guys, like everybody that I've talked to have all said, no, we're waiting. 85 to 90% people that I thought in my personal life that I see day to day would watch this, that because they're Star Wars fans, all said, no, we're waiting. We're waiting for the season to end so they can sit down and watch it. So we got to see what happens there. And then lo and behold, today, the Ahsoka viewership numbers are being released worldwide at 14 million.
But it means nothing unless I have something to base that off of. What does a good streaming show do?
Yeah, Ahsoka's first episode ratings are even with the first episode of the Tony Gilroy created Star Wars series Andor, which also pulled in 1.2 million over its live 5-day.
What was the last Star Wars series?
Let's compare it to something not Star Wars. Show me.
Yeah, that's
what was the last modern comic mayhem?
Let's set the level. What was the Star Wars series before this?
14 million
that came out.
Hold on.
And what was it, Mandalorian season 3? And what was the first episode of Mandalorian season 3? Tell me what that was.
Yeah.
And then I would love to know exactly what Rob said. What was the first episode of Wednesday or whatever?
Wednesday's first week looks like it's damn it, fucking ads.
Golly.
The article comes up and then the ad covers the entire thing. Wednesday was debut week, 341 million hours viewed. So I don't know exactly. It's again apples to pomegranates because we don't have a relation for that. But
they're trying to. Well, people like me watched it 3 times, so they're trying to get an actual hour count over like how many people just watched it the one time.
Yeah,
I mean, they're never going to hit modern comic mayhem numbers. When you're hitting 14 million, 12 million, you're just, we got to, something in the same realm here.
They're shooting for it.
Here you go. Bounding Into Comics had an article a while ago. It says The Mandalorian Chapter 17, The Apostate Season 3 premiere. So that was actually the end of it, right? That gave me the wrong numbers. 38 minutes divided 830. You get 21.65 million viewers.
Wow, that'd be one hell of a drop off.
So 21.65 tuned into the end of season 3 of Mandalorian.
That's the difference because like
the first week.
Mandalorian was there was more people that knew that because the series had been around for a little bit longer.
Yeah, so but Ahsoka comes from that series.
Yeah.
So they know who Ahsoka is. You can't really say nobody knows who Ahsoka is. They know who Ahsoka is now if you watch Mandalorian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I need to watch it. My sister's already blown up my phone wanting to talk about it. Damn it, Andy.
Oh boy.
It's a race to try to get to it before she does.
No, there's the knees and stuff.
Yeah, you don't go too long on. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, the idea
my
of being
sister's like me.
The idea of talking about those numbers are you don't believe what what social media puts out there, because there is a large portion of TikTok users that are rebounding to say, no, it was good. Stop portraying this as not good or not likable, or who cares if it's rehashing or Rebel season 5, or who cares? That's what we love. That's what we want. And a lot of that social media aspect over on TikTok and IG Reels, I'm starting to see people rebounding with their own voices, much like what we're doing tonight, saying it was good.
Well, and to go back to what McClay said, that whole first intro and the archaeology scene, the going in, when she drops her sabers in there and twirls around and
with the Force,
then catches them and drops down, that's what we want to see.
It was new.
The hardcore fans want to see it. That's the Ahsoka we know and love. The surface fans want to see it. That move right there, that intro move, that was epic. That what helps make this series right there. Stuff like that.
You know why that slaps so hard? You know why that slaps so hard is for new viewers that haven't experienced Ahsoka or Rebels or Clone Wars. That was badass. For 10 years people, it wasn't new. Ahsoka used it during Order 66 to escape some of the clone troopers, and used it against them too. So Ahsoka fans got goosebumps. Oh, hell yes, this is awesome.
Yeah. I don't remember seeing it without hands. I mean, guiding the sabers via the Force was something new to me. I don't remember seeing that.
Maybe the sabers are still in her hands on the ship.
Yeah, I think in the past I've always seen it with her holding them. In this case, she drops the sabers and then with the Force moves the sabers and then sucks them back up in her.
Which shows she's evolving. Her power, her skill as a Jedi, it's evolving. Which is why that scene was intro scene, so pivotal, so key, so wonderful to where we're going with and what we want to see with this.
And I hope
do think that later on they dropped the ball a little bit. They gave us that epic scene, but when the robots explode, she's running off of that, 6-tier steps. Should have been a front handspring all day long. That's signature Ahsoka. But she just runs down and hits each step. I watched it. Rosario. I rewound it and rewatched it, and I was like, WTF was that? Are you kidding me right now?
That's Rosario.
So you know what I mean? Like, they did give us and deliver to us that really cool lightsaber. Force is building. She's showing her power. And then she goes down every step. And I'm like, that was drop the ball right there. They could have put that front handspring in there, signature key Ahsoka move, and it really would have helped seal what we're looking for, what makes the next show of Star Wars that much better.
Yeah. And speaking of Rosario, have you guys noticed a difference from her acting as Ahsoka in these first 2 episodes versus in Mandalorian?
Yes.
Somebody did their homework.
She's getting better, and she is getting more of the attitude.
Yep.
However, she is doing a good job of showing the progression of her through herself. She's making the character her own. And showing some progression, right, in her thought. But I have a little trouble with her again, with the prowess, the physique, the quick zipped, back and forth, front handspring, back flip, the agility that they're not allowing her or helping her to pull off is not the Ahsoka. I get it. It's live action.
We've only seen 2 episodes.
Cartoon.
Yeah. We've only seen 2 episodes.
I'm hoping that they fine tune that as we go on, because she's a little clunky. There's another point. I'll pick it out later as we talk down, but there's another real clunky scene. I was like, oh,
yeah.
I really like. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I really like, and I might be seeing a little bit too much in this, but for Ahsoka as a character, really seeing from going back from the beginning through where I hope that she's going at the end here, really the anti-Vader in this whole thing, right? She's trained by Vader. She got this whole story. She gets the total same disillusionment with the Jedi because of everything that happened to her in the Clone Wars series. But instead of accepting that, taking that rejection, still finding her own path to light, eventually now looking like she's coming back. And although she's not a Jedi, though, kind of really functioning in the light where she's got the, we haven't gone the whole stories of the white sabers and all this other stuff outside of cartoons, but this idea that she's really kind of exercising this more pure process of what she's trying to do, but she's still got flaws. She was trained by one of the most flawed Jedi ever. So how she reacts to people and stuff. And so all these little pieces that come together are great, but I like how, the potential of how she could down the road as a character, not only help right now with the New Republic, but what could she do to help if we want to rebuild the Jedi Order, right, along with Rey and all these others? I think that these all could be really, really kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope they don't bring Rey back.
There's talk of her in a future, 10 years down the line movie, rebuilding the Jedi, essentially taking her what they did with Luke in the EU, some of those books, which is fine if they do.
Why couldn't Ahsoka be that? I would rather have Ahsoka do that, right?
Right, which they're doing now with her, essentially with the the heir of the Empire element, right? Except that hopefully there won't be any clones.
Yes. Oh my God. Please, God, no.
So I have another question.
No. Please, God.
Maybe I'm just reading into it too much. And maybe it was only to bring Sabine in and move the storyline forward. How could Ahsoka drop down in there, figure out that big giant puzzle in the room, which was bad as hell, awesome. She got it all, Fifth Element, freaking, blow on the things in the fire and the water and get the ball. And then she can't figure out the ball. How can she not, you just solved, Missed Quest, Commodore 64, whatever, puzzle solving level, and now you have another.
You don't know how long she'd been studying about that place before she got there.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. She could have been told, over her findings or searching for other things. This is how when you get there, this is how you do it. That type of shit.
Sure. Okay. All right. I like that. I'll go with that. I like that.
I'm a bit with Solo Wookiee though too, because when you think, what does the Force always do? It strives for balance, right? After Order 66, there needs to be a big shift in balance, and whatever Jedi are left over, in my mind, you would think they would become more powerful, or not more powerful necessarily, but they become more tuned to the Force, right? So it's not out of the wheelhouse, in my opinion, to think that Ahsoka could have potentially more abilities than she had just simply because of Order 66.
Unless there's no evil for her to rise up against.
It's just in another galaxy.
The Force, the four elements of the Force that she's got to deal with are some kids that were abandoned and are having a temper tantrum with their orange sabers.
Yeah, but she's dealing with a whole Night Sister. I mean, yeah, she was someone in jail, but I mean, the Night Sisters aren't, just a.
She was an orphan. She was a survivor
of Gal.
Survivor of the Night Sisters. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we saw she put on a fight for her in Mandalorian when they fought, but I mean, ultimately she was not raised as a Night Sister. She was an orphan or a survivor, she said. And
right.
Night Sister.
What did you guys think of the not the portrayal, but of the pacing?
It wasn't as slow as normal. I think that some of the problems with Star Wars lately is that the first couple episodes have been really slow. I don't think it was as slow as normal. I think it was fine for me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I thought it was well balanced. That's the one thing that I really took away from there, was that it was a good mix of the action, the dialogue, the story, moving it along, the progression, tying in elements, all these different things you want to go. I thought it was exactly what you would want.
Yeah, I thought they did good with some, some action, some explanation, some action, some explanation, and some of the action was a little shorter to give that timeline for some more explanation of what's to come and what has happened. I thought it was pretty good. It could have been a little quicker, a little bit, but overall, I thought it was really good.
I really felt like, what's that?
I say, really, we won't know until we see the whole segment.
Yeah.
To see whether or not they really stretch this off or they condensed it really fast, right? And that's the problem, is if you have the uneven pacing. If they keep this pacing throughout, maybe with some acceleration towards the end, I'm cool.
One of the coolest moments. Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, if you're going to give me a hammock, right, where I'm going to come into this lull in the middle before you're, then no.
One of the coolest moments was definitely when you got to see the little thing from Ezra. I thought that was really cool.
Yep, the hologram.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Yeah, it was a really good throwback. And I thought that the graphics were
very good,
exceptionally well done in the whole thing. When they actually showed Lothal, I was really impressed. Like that was straight out of Rebels. I mean, the way they're filming now on that new, set with all the 3D background and everything and that game engine, 100%. Lothal knocked it out of the park with it.
The Unreal Engine.
Yeah, it just is. It was breathtaking scenery, even though I knew it wasn't real. It was still, for me, very breathtaking scenery. Very well done. And the fact that now I didn't research it, but I assume that Lothcat was 100% puppet. It does not look CGI.
They did the same thing as they did with Grogu.
Okay.
They did the same animatronic puppets that they did.
Nice.
Yeah, and that, again, knocked it out of the park, because I don't want to see a CGI cat. I don't want a Lothcat. I want to see that puppet. Does it look 100% real? No, it's got a little flaw to it, but I think that's kind of what helps make it more believable, especially for us original fans.
Yeah. It becomes a more tangible thing on screen for you.
Absolutely. More textile, more tangible, more easy for the actors to interact with as well.
Yeah. There's a couple of really solid comments coming in I wanted to get to, but one thing when it comes to pacing, I feel like Filoni made a point to pay homage to the roots of Star Wars. And up there, somebody had commented about, I gotta find it. There was some pauses or some awkward glances or some pauses that they felt were a little weird. That's spaghetti Western 101 when you go back and you look, and that's where Star Wars draws its root from, are the long dramatic pauses of silence. And I feel like Filoni, there was like two scenarios in the first two episodes where I'm like, this feels straight up like mind showdown between, not necessarily good versus bad, but this is like a duel of minds, almost a little bit like that spaghetti Western showdown. I was like, that was pretty dope. I really like that.
Yeah.
Does anybody else want to know where Jason Syndulla is?
Yes. And why we haven't seen him yet? And why Hera just keeps bouncing from planet to planet to planet and there's no kid around? It's like, hey, so you just dropped it off at Ma's house, or how's it?
I will say this, Hera, there's something about Hera that seems off to me. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. She the whole character, the way that's being portrayed just doesn't fit with the way that she's portrayed. Now, granted, she's gone through a lot in this period of time, but still, it just seems a little bit off, and definitely not like a mom who's got the weight of trying to do all this stuff on her shoulders. But
I picked up on that too, and I couldn't, the first two times I couldn't put my thumb on it. I did have a lot of trouble with Hera, and how, again, the set costume for Hera, out of this world. They knocked that out of the park. I thought the costume design for Hera is above and beyond what I was expecting. It's spot on. The way that she acts, it took me 3 times of watching. The third time I caught on. She has trouble delivering her line with much exclamation or with pitch tone variant.
Yeah.
And it's very monotone in all the scenes. So later on, when she's in that flying scene, which is an epic, awesome scene, perfect scene, and she's delivering lines between her and Chopper. Chopper knocked it out of the park. She's monotone. She's not excited. She's not, which is not how she is in Rebels.
Yeah,
That's not how she's, when she's flying, that's her.
She's
That's
too
her
calm, cool,
cocoon.
and collected, right? She's too chill, right?
Too chill, like nothing. Like just monotone and there, and we're delivering our line. We memorized our line, and this is the line. And unfortunately, I don't think that it plays well. I think she could be a good actress for Hera. I don't know if they wrote it to be that way. You know what I mean? Like later on, they're going to explain all this has still happened. She lost Kanan, you know, she has the child now. You know, she had Jason. She has, you know, Ezra's gone. She's now in, you know, the trying to run the whole fleet, you know, with everybody and stay inside. You know what I mean? Like they could play it off later. I don't think they're going to. I hope that they do, because I agree 100%, and it's a really, really good observation, Brian. She is monotone, and there is just something off about her.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely. Joe's dueling, smacking him out of the park here. Ezra hitting space puberty pretty fast based on the hologram. Yeah, I felt the same thing. You go from Ezra looking more like late teenager, early 20s, and now all of a sudden he definitely looks like he's damn near 30 something in the hologram. So many great comments. Attention to those peaches. Hopefully those peaches aren't CGI. That's been a trend. Everybody, you know, the trend with the bo-katan walking away in uniform, and then they're lining that right up with Hera out of this that tail end shot. But so pacing, a lot of other good points. There's a comment in here that we wanted to get to that was a little further back, but also, what are your thoughts on this being the third character gutted by a lightsaber and it's merely a flesh wound?
Jin is pissed.
This is one of the most hotly debated things out of the premiere going on right now.
You know what's even worse than that for me? Watching that droid take that bandage off as he just bludgeoningly punches her as he's ripping that thing. I'm like, wow. No medical droids for me, please. I'll pass.
I'll pass.
So, I mean, is this something you guys are you guys just moving on from this, or is this something that's going to reside in your brain housing group for a while?
This is going to sound bad, but again, I feel like this is writers not knowing Star Wars, if that makes sense. I felt like that was the case in Obi-Wan. You know, I feel like that's the case in this. I feel like that the disbelief stuff that I forget who was talking about earlier, but somebody was saying, "Oh, you have to have some disbelief." For Star Wars now, the disbelief is stuff like that. That is what you have to say. Okay, just they don't understand it, they don't get it. So, you know, those little parts.
It's hard to digest, and you kind of have to, like, just like Brian's saying, if you focus on it, you're just going to get negative about Star Wars. And then, I mean, there's plenty of shows and people you can go watch that are just going to beat that down and just be negative about Star Wars and take all the fun out of Star Wars for you. They're out there. Go seek them out. But if you want to enjoy it, you kind of have to either find a way to justify it in your mind. Okay, well, the lightsaber was a little more left and down and like not in her gut, but, you know, in her pancreas, or, you know what I mean? Because it is kind of on her side. It's not really in her middle. So you just kind of have to, okay, and move on. I mean, they chop Maul in half and he comes back because he's got robot.
Yeah.
They tore out Fennec Shan's guts and literally put in robot guts in like an hour later, and she's okay. there's some things.
Or it heals fast.
There's some things that are just Star Wars.
Yeah, I'll give it a little bit of that, but I'll say that there's Star Wars fans out there that are doctors that took to social media, pulled out a map of the human body and said, yes, this is believable. Please don't play it off and please don't be mad and upset about it. Yeah. They mapped out the arteries. They mapped out the organs. They did all of this. And I'm like, God, yeah, they're actually right. And then everybody was mad about Qui-Gon. It's the arteries. Like they went, like, if you're going to stab somebody with a lightsaber, it's going to cauterize and seal everything. So you're basically shutting off blood flow to and from the organs and you're dying. But then it was fantastic how this one doctor sat there for the solid 3-minute TikTok and mapped out the human body. He said, yeah, it's plausible. It's really plausible. Please don't be mad and upset about it. But I think you're right. There's a little bit of Star Wars here. And I do agree with a couple of people in the chat with, do we really have to have a third? Did that really have a place? Could she have done something else to Sabine to kind of knock her out of the game and move? She could have easily like forced threw a box at her, knocked her out, took the thing and ran away, and it would have been just the same storyline for us.
Sure. I agree. Yeah.
Writing.
Yeah, they totally could have done something else and it would have been a lot better than. I think though that the way that they played it out added a little more suspense because it's like, oh my God, did they just kill her? I mean, we were all like, at first I was like, they didn't just kill her. I know there's scenes with her that I haven't seen yet. Wait a minute.
And then the episode ends, leaving you on a cliffhanger. But then that tells me that when they wrote it and they filmed it, they weren't going to do a 2-episode premiere. They were going to do a 1-episode premiere. And then they
just wrote them as episodes. And then they don't know what the release schedule is going to be.
Yeah.
They just write, but you write them as episodes. Yeah. Cliffhanger. Very good. I mean, I watched all this Flash Gordon serial Star Wars are based on. Every single one of them, Flash Gordon's about to die or somebody's in peril or whatnot, and then all of a sudden, miraculously, oh, wait a second, fooled you.
Yeah.
I am on TikTok a little bit way too much.
The rope was loose.
Yeah, I'm the worst with that. Checking out what's going on, but. So then the other aspect kind of leading into like Jason and whatnot, some of the tertiary characters of the side of things. You can't even really call this guy a tertiary character, but fucking, I tell you what, man, Chopper is my man. I scored like the last like $32 one on eBay after replacing the one my son busted up that I had. And I didn't know that this was Filoni using some sort of synthesizer and messing with his voice, and it was Filoni talking as Chopper. And when we first watched the episode, we didn't know there were actual words being said. So when we went back and turned on subtitles and checked out social media, I'm over the moon. And please tell me you guys got to see the whole thing play out with the tit for tat back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know there were subtitles. I just assumed there wasn't.
Those subtitles, man, you got to go back and watch again.
Yeah, there's a couple
Candy, while we're talking about this, though, make yourself big and show that thing off again.
There's a couple words where you can actually make them out even without the subtitles.
Yeah. Oh, Chopper has always been much more expressive than some of the other astromechs.
He's our little war criminal. And he's the only, if I remember correctly, he's the only droid in Star Wars that can tilt his head, articulate it more, making him more expressive. And with the arms makes him even more expressive on top of that.
BB-8.
But,
yeah, I was to say, until we get to BB-8, whose head is completely, but for a standard astromech, yes.
So I got lucky and I've been wanting to replace this for some time. And every convention I go to, they're always like $75, $100, or $150. Found one left on eBay for like $32.99. Somebody just threw it up in the lull between all the hype that was going on, and all the other ones were getting rung up to $70, $80, $90. But literally, one of the greatest lines. What is the line from Luke Saber that Chopper utters? Luke Skywalker. I'm getting tired. Luke Skywalker utters a line, or somebody utters a line somewhere in Star Wars, and it's reused here in Chopper's. I don't have a good feeling about this. The Han Solo.
Han Solo.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I have a bad feeling about this. God, see, that's how terrible of a Star Wars fan I am. I can't even remember that.
Yeah, Han
Solo. But literally,
said that several times.
Just Chopper's like, just shoot it down, and she's like, you can't shoot it down over this city full of people. Is that bad? Like, I'm spoiling it for you, Rob. You got to go back and watch it. Chopper's the war criminal we all know and love, and Like literally, like this is it. The feeling
singular of focus without regards to consequence.
Exactly. And a lot of what people talked about and the feeling they got from Grogu at the beginning of Mandalorian, that's what I'm feeling with Chopper and seeing Chopper on screen and the history that I have with Chopper and about how I've always wanted more and how I'm more of a fan of droids in Star Wars than I thought I was. It was just awesome.
Chopper is going to be the Grogu of this show. He will steal a lot of the show. He will be the Grogu.
Get to the chopper.
What'd you guys think about the Darth Maul homage? Did you catch that?
No.
Where at?
So when they show her before she goes to steal the map from Sabine, the new gal, brain farting on her damn name already, and she's standing there and she sends out the probe, the probe droid, the little eye, same sound,
on the
same
dunes.
everything.
Yeah.
She's standing there like this, and literally, it's out there on the internet, you can watch it right now. There is a side-by-side comparison of episode 1 when Darth Maul's standing there and the eye probe droid comes up and tells him, hey, we found, Qui-Gon and them, and they're over there. Exact same thing. That ball comes up to her when she's right there on Lothal before she goes and attacks Sabine and takes it. 100% scene for scene, shot for shot, homage to Darth Maul.
That's one of the things that like Star Wars has done historically is they take those callbacks where they will intentionally do a shot. Like if you ever take A New Hope and Return of the Jedi and start them simultaneously, Darth Vader enters the scene exactly at the exact same moment simultaneously as they come down from your pan scan, the ship coming in, all this other stuff that's going on. But whether he steps through the portal or whether the ship comes down, these types of things are done. The pan and scan at the beginning from the planet down to the ship or ship to the planet, these elements, these are all done not only just as a throwback, but also intentionally to pull these things together, make these things all feel connected.
Yeah.
Her name is Shin.
Yeah, Shin.
Okay.
Morgan Shin. Thanks, guys. I knew Sticks Boy and them would be on it.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I'm at that age. I brain fart names anymore and stuff.
I always tell people, tell me 20 times. I'll get it out eventually.
Yeah.
Smoke too much cannabis.
20, I'll get it on the 21st.
Affects the memory.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you guys feel about just cold ass Ahsoka walking out of the hospital, telling Sabine, and Sabine's like, you need my help, and she says, "No, you've done enough." And just, I mean, I was waiting for that Friday clip where they're sitting on the porch and damn.
Yeah, at first,
she just drops it, dude. She just is like, "No, you've done enough," and walks out.
At first, I couldn't believe it. I heard that, and I took it that same way. I was like, "What the hell, dude?" I thought Ahsoka was nice, but at the same time, then by the time you get to the end of how season episode 2 ended, I go, okay, she knows what's motivating her.
Yeah, totally.
And she knows, because she mentioned it. She has to, it's like they can't. Both parties have to want, or they have to know that they're ready, and all these types of things. It's like, and how does she know that she's ready? She gets that motivation. To, oh no, you don't. You're not going to do this type of thing. Put me in the corner, whatever. But she, that's what motivates Sabine. She goes off. She pulls out the armor. She calls up Ahsoka. I'm ready. Ahsoka now knows. Yes, now you are. Let's ride. All right, and that's where we leave off that episode. And that's like, I think in hindsight, after you get to the end, you go, oh shit, okay, she's playing her. She's manipulating her. I see what you're doing. But yes, it came off very, oh no, you didn't.
Yeah. I thought it was well done. What do you think
I
about
appreciate
that, Andy?
I appreciate all the notes and everything. I gotta get to this late evening. It's already getting late for me, and I have some things I have to do for the evening curtails, but I didn't make time too for the Ahsoka show. So I appreciate you letting me come on tonight. I love hearing all the information from the new guys for sure. And I'm going to be looking at the show now from a new set of eyes, called
Enjoy.
the Rob's and everyone else's eyes. So I appreciate it. It was a good. It's always cool to hear from like the fans the differences, and I can kind of understand what you are saying now. So I want to go check it out now and see it.
Good to
So
see
y'all
you.
have a good one.
Oh,
We'll see y'all next week.
Later, brother.
Later, guys.
Yeah, what do you think about that scene? Did that catch you in any way? You two?
Catch me up again really quick. I just came back down.
When Sabine
the very end of
says,
episode
"Hey,
2.
you need my help," and Ahsoka just says, "No, you've done enough." And the way she just drops that cold ass and I was saying like that Friday clip when they slide and they go, "Damn!" I was waiting for that clip to drop right in there because I watched too much Instagram, but
that's a really good indicator of, like Rob said, is Ahsoka's not a Jedi. She never completed her training, so she's not gonna. That's the sassy Ahsoka that we knew and loved from Clone Wars and Rebels, where she didn't complete it. She didn't come full circle about caring about everybody. No, it's just that's Ahsoka, and I was like, that was pretty badass.
That was pretty dope. What do you think, McClay? You're on mute.
Say it again. What would you ask? What did I think of the cold?
The way
Ahsoka?
that she dropped that, the way that Ahsoka dropped that. No, you've done enough.
I think that's how Ahsoka's going to play out this whole thing. You know, until the end or something. You know what I mean? We're going to see very little emotion. The only emotion we're going to see out of her is I mean, she's people. I know people say she's not a Jedi, but she's a fucking Jedi, right? And that's what Jedi do, right? They don't have that emotion. They're very standoffish, and
that's a good point.
You know, yeah,
that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
That's what we're gonna see out of Ahsoka for this most part, and then there's gonna be those little moments, like Rob said, where you're not ready yet. Okay, now I know you're ready. That's where the moments are gonna be where you see her, not be, for lack of better words, a bitch. Like she isn't that's one of the things about Jedis is they have no emotion. They're not supposed to.
Well, but her master wasn't exactly the most exemplary.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good point too.
That's why he didn't stay a Jedi very long.
Yeah.
Ironically, the real reason that he ends up leaving, though, really is more about her.
Yeah,
is kind of that whole, which I loved about her arc with Clone Wars, was that really kind of made you make a lot of sense where that final straw was that really kind of pushed him over the edge.
That's what I'm waiting for in this first. I want Anakin moments. I want flashbacks. I want whether Anakin's going to talk to her through the Force or something. I want Anakin and Ahsoka moments. Those are the moments that I want more than anything. I hope that we get that.
We're getting them.
When we do, Andy's going to be.
I know we're getting some of the Anakin stuff. I know we are because I've already seen little clips. But when Big Leg was the show runner over at the Star Wars, celebration, they had just come from the set. They were waiting to interview both Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, and they had both said, "Oh, we just came from the Ahsoka set," and nobody caught on. I felt like I was the only one. I was like, "Why were you on the set?" So I could be totally wrong. We will probably see both of them, Ewan McGregor, and I already know that we see Hayden Christensen because
we all know we see Hayden Christensen. Yeah,
they're already in there. They've already dropped clips. Yeah. They've already revealed it. So I know that we're going to see them, but my guess is we're also going to see some Ewan McGregor, and I agree. I think that's going to be some cool stuff and most likely it'll be flashbacks. But
I would love to. Cool. You know what I would also love to see that we're probably not going to get, but I would love to see something about it. I want to see more Darth Maul. I want to see some Darth Maul flashbacks, right? Because to me, that was my favorite part of like those animation series is like the bringing back Darth Maul and turning Darth Maul into almost like a anti-hero, right?
Sure.
You could like that's what I like about Star Wars. I like about Star Wars. There's good writing, right? The best writing is when you take somebody that you hate so much and you fall in love with them, right? That's Darth Vader with Anakin. That is Walking Dead with Negan. Game of Thrones with Jamie. You know what I mean? Like that is the best writing to me, is when you have a character that you hate so much in the beginning, and then through the storytelling, he becomes, or that character becomes, your favorite character, right? And I think that they did that really well with Darth Maul, but they kill him off again, which drives me crazy. And I get it, like that's
but
fine.
He died
but
in such a good way.
He did. And if we can get, which was ridiculous in episode 1, that was to me the dumbest thing about episode 1.
Agreed.
I don't care about Jake Lloyd or whatever that stuff. We were going to get a goofy Anakin. The Darth Maul killing in episode 1 was the dumbest thing that they ever done in Star Wars, in my opinion. Yeah. But bringing him back was so smart. And if we can get just flashback scenes, I want flashback scenes of Darth Maul. That's all I want.
The second ending of Darth Maul was epic. It tied. It's one of my favorite things in all of Star Wars. I
hope we get. I was hoping we might get that in Obi-Wan.
I'll humble myself. I do. I cry. That scene kills me, man, because there's so much into it and behind it. I love it.
Well, what do you guys think? You guys ready for episode 3?
I am
super pumped.
I am looking at the screen right now. I'm being waved over and looking at the clock, and it's about time. So, I mean, do you guys have any closing thoughts on the first 2 episodes?
No, I think they're great so far. I mean, little couple things here, but I think they're great so far.
Just solid outings.
Yeah.
It's Star Wars.
I think they're good. They have some small misses so far. Nothing that's been nearly as bad as some of the other shows that we've had. I think they're progressing well. I think it's going to be a good series. I think most overall, it's going to pan out well. I'm excited. I'm trying not to get too excited, but I'm excited. I think it's going to be a strong series.
We've learned as Star Wars fans to temper our expectations as not to get too excited, so that way, if we're let down, we're not let down too hard.
Well, they literally titled it Part 3. That's the title.
The problem with that is about not getting let down is that we go up on these great like things where we're like, oh my God, this is so amazing, and then they do something so ridiculous that just makes me go like this. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen in this. I hope we don't get a Obi-Wan moment, like
keep it even keel.
I want to keep it even keel, and I want just a great series. I don't want it to be the great fan moment and then the rest be garbage. I just want good writing, and I think Filoni can do that. I really do. And like Rob said in the beginning, and Solo Wookie said in the beginning, this is Filoni. This is all Filoni right here. So
I'm a solid 4.75 out of 5. I mean, it's solid Star Wars in my opinion, like what you guys are saying. That being said, a really good comment to bring up to highlight. Can we recognize the passing of a member of our community? Rest in peace, Mikey Sutton. Just this past, I think, Saturday or Sunday. I think I heard it just over the weekend.
Saturday night.
Very unfortunate loss.
It is. Good
sad.
Guy. Good knowledge, man. Great guy. Fun to watch too. He was fun to watch.
I wish more people would have met him and known him like some other people in the community, because he would have made a really big impact on a lot of the people out here.
Well, I think Lords of the Long Box had a show tonight, so I imagine they had probably said something about it. So I'd suggest if there's anybody out there, go check out Lords of the Long Box tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ezra's not the Inquisitor. Give me Ahsoka the White and this thing.
Right. I can't wait. That being said, tomorrow's new comic book day, right, McClay?
It is. It is. Are you wanting to go over new comic books, or do you want to hold off for this week?
We can do a quick recap. I mean, that literally only takes like 5 to 10 minutes. My whole pull list is just Star Wars, so I don't have a whole lot to say tomorrow. I want to read World Tree 5, but hey.
There are a couple of really good covers coming out this week. Obviously, anytime you have Wolverine and Ghost Rider, I imagine you're going to get some good stuff, but not as big as week as it was last week. Here we go. All right, let's do this.
Are you enjoying that World Tree, Andy? I don't know anybody reading it other than you.
I picked up the first issue, read the first issue, and then I picked up 2, 3, and 4 and misplaced them, and this is still looking for them. I did enjoy the first issue, and I've been hearing good things about the next several issues.
We got facsimiles coming out tomorrow. Oh yeah.
This Alice Never After covers are fire.
Beautiful. Yeah. Look at that. She's holding the hearts. Like, that's so great. Adam Hughes. Really, really good.
That's
so I would suggest you check out the Adam Hughes. This is a good one too by Mercado.
Ugh, creepy.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, really good. So Alice Ever After #2 is coming out. Let's see here. What else do we got? We've got the isn't there a Catwoman? Is there a Catwoman cover this
right
week?
there.
Yeah. So you got a bunch of cool Catwoman covers this week, but I think a lot of people I saw were talking about the Art Germ and then the 1 in 25 Babs Tar. So there you go, right there. There's that. And then what else? Here's the Ghost Rider stuff. Danny Ketch Ghost Rider.
That's the only cover too, I think.
Yeah, which is amazing. That's really surprised that they decided to do that. They usually put out fire covers by them. Where is Deadpool the Deadpool stuff? You got the Liefeld variant, which is terrible, but this one isn't too bad. The up close Liefeld variant.
He cut off the feed. How could it be terrible? There's no feed in it.
Yeah. Death of Venomverse. You've got the Bjorn Barons cover. And then
that's terrible, Delato, man. I can't believe the best part
you
of
don't like the Delato connecting variants? I think they're great.
The best part is the Spider-Man spray painted on the wall in the background. That thing just hurts.
I think these are badass.
It's not his best work.
I like them. That one's not that great. That one's not that great, but it has the Madam Venom design variant, which is a nice little pickup if you guys can find it. And then of course the Stegman Venom from the Peter Porker verse. Yeah. There's that. Isn't there a Deja Taurus cover this week that's just fire? Maybe I was thinking about that last week. We were talking about that last week. What else? You said there were some Star Wars books.
Conan has a Dan Parent.
I don't think there's any Star Wars books. Huh? The Planet Comics this week is pretty good.
My whole pull list is Star Wars. What are you saying?
Are there Star Wars books this week?
I owe $60 to the shop tomorrow. Come on, it's loading. There's like
Knight's End.
There's all the weird books I don't read anymore.
Yeah, there's some good covers on these.
Yeah, I stopped reading Bounty Hunters.
Yeah, and Mandalorian season 2 is out.
Okay, so Mandalorian I'll get. Okay.
That accounts for 90% of my pull list.
That one right there.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good cover.
1 in 50.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the Batman underneath the dead man right there. It's such a good cover.
Yeah, they're doing a good job with the Knight's Terror stuff. Local Man Gold's coming out. Tony Fleeks. And you've got the old callback.
Love me some Tony.
Yeah.
Great guy. If you ever get the chance to meet him, do it.
This pink elephant cover is right up my alley.
That's pretty wicked.
Yeah.
That is pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's a cool cover right there. The Moon Knight annual.
Planet Comics. There you go.
And then where's the Planet Comics ones? Oh, right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the Moon Knight annual coming out with Taiguchi showing back up. So that's a good thing. And then there's the Planet Comics. Right there.
I never see those in my shop. They never have Arctic Press there.
Yeah, no, I'm like the only person in my shop that gets them because I have them on my pull list, so they order them just for me. But it's fun, little
Star Wars
throwback series. It has some cool
Hunters.
covers.
There's Bounty Hunters.
Isn't there one? There should be one with.
There you go. The Alex Maleev.
Yeah.
1 in 100.
Yeah, it's a sick cover.
Am I paying for that tomorrow? Nope, they didn't get one. Okay, good. I don't want to pay $100. I like it. It's not $100 cover.
You probably got. Did you get the regular then? The trade?
Yeah. I got the regular Maleev trade, the 15th anniversary Clone Wars. Yep, the 40th anniversary, and the Ryan Brown.
I love seeing the Dark Horse trade dress on these books. It just takes me back. That looks good, man.
It does.
Kylo Ren's design is such a great design. And to me, I think Kylo Ren was probably the only cool part of the sequels. And they just totally messed him up by killing him off at the end.
Pull up the crazy vanity cover.
Here's the Mandalorians. There's your bowl of mud. I don't know why anybody's reading this series other than just to buy these.
I'm not even reading it. I'm buying them to have them for my son. But that job variant would be really cool to have Katie Sackhoff sign.
It would.
Here's the vanity.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's a crazy cover.
That's
Scout
wicked.
Comics.
Here's that then.
This is here's the Wolverine Vengeance covers, Ghost Rider cover style stuff. Flaming Claws. Cheesy George Perez variant.
Not his best.
But that's badass right there, dude. They just messed it up with the trade dress. Linnell Francis Yu is damn good, man.
Make a sick trading card. I wish they can bring some of those back again. They have been, but
every time I see those, I look at what style, which motorcycle it is. Is it a Kawasaki? Is it the Suzuki? Is it the Harley? Like everyone draws it just a little bit different.
Right there,
look at
the
all
green
these
one.
World Tree covers. Holy
green
cow, man!
They definitely they have an eye for cake.
Yeah.
And
homage.
That one's pretty good right there.
That was an homage.
That one's my favorite. That's my favorite.
It's pretty dope.
That's really good.
Dan Quintana exclusive, so it's probably on his website.
Just too many covers, man.
That's Ghost in the Shell homage. I thought was pretty neat. I'm not buying them all, but
what else? Ultimate Invasion 3. You have you got the cameo, the end page cameo where it shows the Kang, Tony Stark.
I've actually enjoyed that so far.
Yeah, it's good. So I think that's probably the best reading pickup this week that I can think of. Scorched. Of course, you're going to get a couple good covers there. Yeah, not much. Nightmare County. See if there's anything good with that. Usually 1 or 2 good covers.
The Power Rangers is coming out. They did that whole villains all on the cover.
Oh, to the right and up.
Yeah, everyone's talking about that one. Art Germ, isn't that?
Miss Marvel is the Art Adams 1 in 50. Miss Marvel gonna be an X-Men now. So they don't have to explain stupid Inhumans.
Mm.
That's an excellent cover right there. That's an excellent cover right there.
Didn't they already do the Miss Marvel action figure cover?
Yeah, but not Miss Marvel as an X-Men.
Oh, sure. No, I got you.
Yeah. Which one was it?
Up one
This
going
one?
all the way to the right.
This one?
Power Rangers, up one.
Right here.
Yeah.
That's a cool cover.
Yeah,
that's a real cool cover. I'm not a Power Rangers fan, but that's a cool cover right there.
See, I look at that one and it just makes me think of Voltron.
That's funny. Look at that.
Are they reprinting the original?
That's
yeah,
terrible.
30th anniversary special.
Yeah, reprint of the first one.
Look at that. Oh, wow.
That's the one everyone's talking
Holy
about.
cow.
Nice.
That's good. Yeah, this is a great spec play right here. People are going to be wanting this for years to come. It's only a 1 in 5. There's a 1 in 10. That's pretty good. Mercado. And of course, people are going to be picking that up. But that's a really good one right there. Man, that's a good image. Marvel H1000.
There's a couple good ones. I don't mind that one. That one's not too bad. I can get behind it.
Jeez. Man. Rough.
The Daredevil was Frank Miller.
These George Perez sketch cover variants are terrible. Yeah, man.
So
that's not good.
Go look at the Daredevil. So that's got to be an old artwork, right?
They're all old artwork. They're just sketches.
Right.
They're like, yeah. And they look like sketches.
If you look at the new Hulk cover.
Oh, bro, they're bad. Frank Miller. Frank Miller. Yeah. Monstrous number 47. Still kicking. I love Monstrous, man. Such a great series. Beautiful.
That's going to end up in a collected edition on my shelf.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventure stuff is kind of interesting. I hear a lot of people talking about these.
I like
nostalgia
Turtles.
Right here.
Yep. Those I might grab just to grab and leave them in a box for my son.
Because makes me feel young again.
They're only a couple bucks.
Really? They're cheap? That's actually smart that they're cheap.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Sonic. Isn't there? Let's see what the variant is.
Do either of you know how high the sales are on those TMNTs? I don't think they're very high.
That's a cool variant.
I don't think they are either. Nice.
Yeah.
They should for comedic value only. They should do a variant of that popsicle variant where the popsicles are all effed up and the eyes are all jacked up.
Yeah, eaten. Yeah,
so they look like real ones that you get out of the truck.
Like the old TMNTs and the old Spider-Mans and the old Sonics.
SpongeBob comes out with no eyes.
SpongeBob, right?
IDW Endless Summer. Oh. Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, I watched that movie, man. That movie was awesome. I really, really, really cannot express how much I enjoyed that movie.
Godzilla's Rivals.
You're going to make me watch it this weekend.
Dude, that D&D was awesome. I loved it. It was one of the best things I've watched in probably the last 5 years.
Those are cool Godzilla covers. Oh,
I like them. Yeah. They look good. Space Godzilla. This Hell Witch from Coffin Comics, man. Wow. Coffin Comics, man. They've been putting out some really good stuff lately. Some art on these covers.
Wow.
is amazing.
Oh, she's angelic.
Jesus.
I think I dated that last one.
20 covers?
What?
I said
Oh,
8
yeah.
of 20. Holy
Yeah.
moly.
All the naughty covers. Look at this one right here.
Oh, yeah.
That one's kind of crazy. Yep. You got a bunch of naughty and whatever they call them. Brian Polito said that somebody asked him, when are we ever going to get a Lady Death series or a TV show or movie or anything? And he's like, listen, he goes, they always want to make Lady Death, but they just don't want to make it the way Lady Death should be made. You know, he's like, Lady Death, they want to tone her down. They want to make her not such a badass. They don't want her looking like the way she looks. And he goes, listen, that's Lady Death. Like, that's the whole point of it, of her. And I'm just not going to let that happen. And I thought that was such a great answer that, you know, he's like, I would rather just not do it.
Oh.
That's interesting.
Kudos to him for staying true, man. I agree 100%.
Yeah. It's
not a bad week. Light, but
very light. Yeah. I like this though. The Alice Never After stuff. So,
yeah. The covers for that have me really intrigued. I might have to start buying Alice Ever. They've just got really great covers.
Cover right there.
It makes me want to read it.
That's a really good cover. Interesting. Well, there you go. That is new comics this week.
Ooh,
sweet.
Yeah.
The Hulk Stormbreaker cover is pretty cool.
Well, hell, that's gonna leave us with what?
One more thing.
Yeah, there's buttons. I haven't used any at all tonight, but there's buttons. Go ahead, McClay.
Just come hang out Beyond Wednesdays. I will say this real quick. I opened the Perillo and Cohen IG mystery box thing that they sold for $700 on my last show Saturday night, and it was a big disappointment. All these were supposed to be signed. I was supposed to get 3 books that were supposed to have sketches on them or remarks. Like 90% of the books are not signed. No sketches, no remarks. None of them came in bag and boards. Horrible condition. You can tell it's just all their comps. I mean, at least put them in bag and boards. You know, people are collectors. It was rough. It was very disappointing. So I got to write myself a little DM message to Carla Cohen saying, what the hell? You know, what's going on here? $700 for this. And so I got to figure out how to play that. And I'm not looking forward to that. But if you want to see that, you can watch that on last Saturday's episode of Modern Comic Man.
Don't miss it. Always catch it on the replay.
There we go.
Rob, man, I know you got a big one.
Yeah, so I've talked about one thing, man. I'd say give on Instagram if you can, guys. Give at Comics Curing Cancer a follow. Comics Curing Cancer is my channel. First of all, everything that I do on my channel is all the funds that come in from membership and revenue and everything else. It all goes to Comics Curing Cancer with the American Cancer Society, and we have our big fundraiser coming up in October. At the end of October last year, we raised $22,000 thanks to the comic book community. This year, we're shooting for more. We got some really big, exciting announcements coming regarding this year's campaign, including some involvement of people and some things that are going to be available. So hopefully, you guys give us a follow and see what's going on. And if you got anything that you're interested in helping out with, something that you can donate, right now we're in our collection stage of collecting donations of items that we can use during our auction or during our prize wheel. So essentially, if I'll give you 10 seconds, Andy, if I could. Well, we do this 3-day event. First 2 days, we have various content. We do kind of some various things going on those channels. Everybody who donates $50 during those first 2 days or more, they get put on a donor wheel. And on Saturday night, during our show, we have the donor wheel, we have a prize wheel, or a thank you gift wheel rather, and we match them up and get people some things to thank you for donating. And then all day Sunday is our really big auction where we do our biggest pieces: slab books, original art, commissions, all kinds of stuff. So
awesome. Looking forward to that. And that auction is held on what, YouTube?
It'll be, everything's, most of the content. So Instagram we'll be promoting stuff. We'll be using other people to help do that. But the shows and stuff will all be on Instagram. We're going to be releasing the schedule pretty soon. We'll release it on Instagram. It moves around to different channels on purpose so we can leverage overlapping spheres of influence and hit maximum people. But the auction on Sunday will be on my channel.
Okay. Gotcha. Good to know, man. Thanks. It's a great cause, doing amazing things.
Yeah. Cancer is the true supervillain. Together, maybe we can beat it.
Amen.
Amen.
Hell yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andy.
Oh, absolutely. Solo, not running solo tonight. What you got?
I got fuck cancer. That's what I got.
There you
Go over there and do everything to help him out, because that's an awesome cause. Because I have too much cancer in my family has affected my life, and fuck cancer. So please pay attention to that. You can catch me once in a great while on MCM when I'm not super busy. You can catch me outside, catch me on Instagram, catch me, I don't know, just catch me.
How about that?
Just say, hey, how you doing? And I'll reply. I might be late, but I'll reply. I'm around. Just find me.
Catch me outside. How about that?
Catch me outside. Whatever. I'll give you a hug. I'm a hugger.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. My one more thing tonight is thank you to Rob. Thank you to Solo for being a part of this and making for an epic Ahsoka / Star Wars. I like how we got to pick away at Star Wars a little bit. But my one more thing again, follow Comics Curing Cancer. I'm going to start grabbing those social links from Rob here in a little while and making sure that that's in all of my content leading into October. And I would like to send some stuff your way soon here for that donations. And I'd also like to help play a role, whether donating some time or donating some other things, avenue that I can help out with that and play a role with that year to year.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. I super enjoyed it. You let me know. I'll come on and talk Ahsoka anytime.
Dude, I mean, the passion starts flowing and it's good, man. It's just nothing but good stuff. And thank you to everybody in the chat that just dropped in fire comments. And thank you to Ferdbird the Nerd with the super chat and everybody that left their comments on last week's episode. But yeah, you guys know how we're going to do this, right? I'm going to go peace out. I'm going to go pinkies out. I'm going to catch you on the flip side. Remember the most important part all day.
May the force be with you.
That
fuck cancer.
Fuck cancer. That's the most important part. Absolutely. Have a good night, everybody.
Fuck cancer.
Double up, double up, double up. The money I color. Excuse me while I change. The roller buggy has made me sweaty. Yeah, sweaty.